Hi, this is Rabbi Chaim Kaufman. Welcome to our 151st installment in the Torah portion of the week. We are holding by Parshas Lech Lecha, a packed parsha. It speaks about Avraham giving the promise, or getting the promise from God, right? That has to go to a land he doesn't know, etc. And then he goes down to Egypt, and Sarah gets taken, right? There's a famine, comes back to Eretz Yisrael, and God reassures him. Chapter 15 is a reassurance that Avraham says, "What are you going to give me? I don't have any kids," etc. He has a covenant between the parts. The whole story with Hagar and Ishmael. Really a packed parsha here. So one thing I want to focus on, chapter 12, verse 13. Right, the Torah says, we'll go a little bit before that chapter 12, verse 12. It says, "And it shall occur when the Egyptians will say to you, well, we'll see you, they will say, this is the wife, then they will kill me, but you they will let live." Verse 13, "Please say you are my sister, it may go well with me, for your sake, that I may live on account of you." Now, simple explanation, I would say the whole purpose over here is what? Is that he's going to get saved. Right? No question, really, should give up his life, or she should give up his life. She should give up her life, not to be with Pharaoh, etc. But nonetheless, seemingly he lies. Right? Seemingly he lies and he says, "You're my sister." So technically it's not a lie. Right? The commentaries say that Sarah's really his niece. So it's really so he's related, so it's not like, it's like an outright lie. Regardless, he says it should go well with me, for your sake. So it's interesting. What does it mean it should go well? Rashi says they should get gifts. Right? The Pharaoh should give him gifts. So it's a little bit hard to understand. He doesn't want gifts. Right? We understand when it comes to Sodom, he says that in chapter 14, verse 23, "You're not going to make me rich. I'm not going to take a strand, a shoelace, etc." So, says Mori Rebbe, however, going to Moshe, this should be well. Brings down in his book, Chochmah Vedas, and he says, but don't we say, Sone Matanos Yichya? Person should hate gifts. He should talk, I hate gifts. Right? So, we know, as we said before, that he doesn't want to become rich through the king of Sodom. So, what's his idea? Getting gifts. Why is he going to take a gift over here? So Rebbe points out, simple explanation is that if the king sends him gifts, what's going to happen? It's going to be tremendous for him. Why not just the fact he's going to get gifts, but in the bigger scheme of things, it's going to bring out his name, the greatness of his name. Where, since people are going to know him, people are going to know how great he is. So therefore what? Therefore he's going to be able to explain to people not to believe in idols. And not to run around and take their pocket God. Here's Bob. Don't leave home without him. Right? But he's going to spread emunah. He's going to spread belief in one God. This is going to be a tremendous thing for the king. He's going to get this tremendous merit. And others are going to hear the word of God. That they're going to hear that there's only one God, etc. And then what he wants to do to spread this belief, he's going to be that much more successful. Because his name's going to get out there. So if Pharaoh gives him gifts, if he gives them things that he's going to benefit from, people are going to hear about it. If people hear about it, he's going to be able to spread God's name and what we're obligated to do to serve him. Right? It's one thing. Second thing he says is, it's going to be a sanctification of God's name. Why? Because they're going to see how the heart of the king and how the servants of the king accept gifts. So therefore he's going to give a gift. He's going to see this great person accept the gift. It's going to be sanctification of God's name. People will see how great he is. So then Rabbi points out, even though we normally say, like we asked at the beginning, person should hate gifts. Talmud tells us in a number of places, if a person wouldn't get benefit from that gift, the person wouldn't give. So therefore, anyone who gives a gift, what's his intention? Right? It should draw a person closer. Right? It should make a kirva, it should make a connection, stronger connection between the person giving and the person receiving. And if a person's not appreciative, if a person, if he gets a gift, doesn't show appreciation, then it's like Gezela. It's like he stole. So it's interesting that normally a person wants to show humility. He doesn't want someone, in this case, Avraham doesn't want someone to make him great, as we see by Sodom. So he's accepting over here because if he doesn't, he looks like an ingrate. He looks like someone who doesn't appreciate what he has, what he's been given. Because what's the whole purpose of giving a gift? The whole purpose of giving a gift is the person who gets the gift benefits, person who gives benefits, person who gives, what does he do? He draws that love between him and the other person. He wants to strengthen the bond, right? It's not a bad thing. The only problem is the person doesn't necessarily want to accept, right? Why wouldn't a person want to accept? Doesn't want to accept because then he has to show gratitude. Then he feels like he's indebted. And when a person feels indebted, right, it's usually not good. Because then you feel like you have to do something for the other person. Right, there's another possible explanation over here. Another explanation, interesting. You have to remember what's going on. Pharaoh takes Sarah. Now, it certainly may not look in the eyes of others as a good thing. But even though he's the king, he's the Pharaoh, he can do what he wants, per se. So why does he give him gifts? Give him gifts is like shut up money. Right? Because he knows that in order to keep Avraham quiet, and that Avraham's not going to reveal what Pharaoh did, so he gives him gifts. Right? He bribes him. So over here, it's not being ungrateful. It's not because we might think in the future he takes his gift and it's like stealing. He doesn't appreciate. But really, it's payment for the past. Right? Something that Pharaoh did, it shut up money. Right? Basically, it shut up money. And that Avraham's not going to come and reveal what Pharaoh did. Now, another thing that can certainly help is the fact that he's going to be mefarsem, he's going to tell people that Pharaoh gave him these gifts in order to appease him. So it's not shut up money, but it's in order to appease him. And it's going to help him because the people of Egypt are going to see that he has a closeness to the king. Right? He's very close to the king. And if they wanted to hurt him or do something against him, they realize that he's close to the king. So once the person realizes, listen, this person has a connection over here, right? A very strong connection to the king. At the end of the day, they're not going to touch him. They're going to be afraid to touch him. Right? Another possible explanation is the fact that if the king does this, gives him gifts, the king essentially can do what he wants. Right? Because he's the king. Doesn't need to listen to anyone. He can make up his own laws. Right? He can do what he wants against Avram's will. So it can't be that he's going to give and then not get anything in return. Because in either case, the king has power, can do what he wants, then take what he wants, whenever he wants, and he doesn't need anyone to agree with him. He's the king. He can do whatever he wants. So a number of things going on over here. So normally, now let's go back to the original idea. Normally we would say that in the case of Avraham, we know in the future he's going to say, I'm not going to take for the king of Sodom. He's not going to say I made his name great. Right, so we should really hate gifts and not want anything. But over here, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing because now it's going to be known how great Avraham is. Right, not just for shut up money over here, but they're going to know how great he is. And that the king's giving him gifts. So if he's close to the king, and the king's giving him gifts, then he's got more greater influence. And the influence is going to bring people to believe in one God. He's going to be able to continue his work where he is by spreading the wealth, by spreading belief in one God. By doing so, he's going to have a lot more power to do it. In other words, if a person has the ability to influence, and he hangs around with important people, all right, let's say he's friends with the president, friends with the vice president, friends with the, people in the cabinet, whatever. And he's got connections in high places. If a person has connections in high places, he can almost do what he wants. Obviously within reason, but the influence on those people is much greater. Because obviously, if he's friends with the king, he's one of the king's cronies, so to speak, then everyone has to toe the line. They have to let him in because he's close to the king. So there's there's something added over here. The fact that he's close to the king, it means he can do his job in a much better way. It means he has much greater influence. So therefore, what that's going to do is it's gonna give him a wider influence, and it's going to be a sanctification of God's name. Because he's not taking the gifts to be rich, even though God says, I'm going to make you rich, I'm going to take care of you, I'm going to take care of your offspring. So therefore, he's taking the gifts, not just the fulfillment of what God said, but he's taking the gifts for one very simple reason. It's going to help other people come close to him. So in other words, if a person has the ability to influence, and he's got protexia, he's got protexia, connections in the government and in other things, his influence is that much greater. Because you have to remember, what's the trial over here? God says, Lech Lecha me'artzecha. Go out from what you know. Right? It says at the beginning, God says to Avraham, chapter 12, go for yourself from your land, your relatives, father's house, the land that I will show you, make you a great nation, I will bless you, make your name great, blah, blah, blah. Where's the trial? Everyone agrees this is one of the trials. That God tries Avraham to make him great, to help him reach his potential. So, if God would come to any of us and say, I'm going to make you wealthy, I'm going to give you a great name, fame, right? I'm going to give you everything. You have to go away from your land. But you're doing great work, doing a tremendous amount of outreach. You're saving souls. So where's the test? Test is he doesn't know where he's going. Could end up in pego. They don't speak his language. How does he know he's going to be so successful? So he goes with full faith. Right? But when he goes, when he goes over here, he's got the ability also to save souls. But the question is, he already knows he was successful in one place. How in the world is he going to be successful if he goes somewhere else? The fact that he goes somewhere else, no guarantee, doesn't speak the language, doesn't speak the lingo. But in the end, there's a promise. And there's a promise he'll be successful. So you can say, well, that's fulfillment of that. But the reality is, he's coming to accept gifts for another reason. He's coming to accept gifts, well, not exactly for another reason, but to help him in his quest to save other souls. He's going to try and bring other people closer. He's going to Egypt, a place he doesn't know. Doesn't know the people, doesn't know the lingo, per se. In fact, now he's close to Pharaoh. Why? Because Pharaoh's giving him gifts. Now he's got a front row seat. Now whatever he says turns to gold because he's got his buddy. He's got his buddy right in the Oval Office. Pharaoh's in charge. Tremendous thing. So that means his outreach efforts can be 10 times more successful because he's got the king's backing. Therefore, since he's got the king's backing, people are going to say, oh, it must be so important. Look, he got gifts. He's close to the king. Therefore, he can continue on his mission. His mission will be that much more successful. Now, a person also has to realize that when a person gets a gift, you have to be thankful. But gifts are there to bring out reus, bring out friendship, loving kindness one to another. And even though really you shouldn't accept gifts in general, and a person may not want to do it because they don't want to feel beholden to anyone else, in the end, it can be positive. Right? In the end, a person's not going to give a gift if it's not appreciated. Right? It's a big topic in and of itself. Who's the one that gets more benefit when a person gives a gift to someone else? Is it the person who gives it, or is the person who receives? If a person giving charity, and the person receiving really needs it, so you tell me if the person receiving it gets more of a benefit. But in the end, the person who's giving gets tremendous merit because he's helping someone else. Right? He's giving of himself. But the other person also has to be appreciative. Even if he's in the situation. Let's say it's not tzedakah. But he gives him a gift because he wants to bring about friendship. He wants to bring about reus, as we mentioned. That's not a bad thing. The reason it's not a bad thing is it draws people closer. But you have to be appreciative. You have to understand how to be appreciative without feeling indebted. Right? It's not an easy thing. Sometimes a person has to accept help. Let's say they're sick or whatever. They can't do things on their own. Or they're just, too tired or whatever. So a person may have to accept help, but you have to show the appreciation. Just because somebody helps you doesn't mean, okay, very good, God sent them as my shaliach. They are my messenger, and they're helping me. But they don't have to. Right? Nobody has to. They can do it of their own free will. They can do it with money. They can do it with all kinds of things. But in the end, a person has to be appreciative of what he gets. And he has to realize where it comes from. Because where it comes from is from the man above. The only question is, not the man, but God above. Which means that a person has to be appreciative of where it comes from. Doesn't matter who the messenger is. You have to thank the messenger. You got to thank the person who sent the messenger. And we walk around in life sometimes not being appreciative, not being thankful. Because in the end, as it's brought down in a number of places, that if a person wouldn't be grateful, if he wouldn't get the benefit, a person wouldn't give. Or a person, if you're helping them, if you give them something they're going to get benefit from. If you give them something they're not going to get benefit from, then it's not help. That's not considered being helped. So therefore, when a person gives, what's part of his ulterior motive? Right? It could be he has no ulterior motive and he just wants to give for the sake of giving. But in the end, he knows it's going to help their friendship. He's going to give and he feels good about giving. The other person is going to receive it, he's going to be happy that he got. But if not, if the person isn't appreciative, then it's considered like he's stealing. Right? So this is an important idea. It's not enough just to take what someone gives. But if you're not appreciative, it's like they gave for nothing. It's like you're getting something for free without acknowledging. If you don't acknowledge, it's like you're stealing. Alright, that's what it is. It's a branch of stealing. And the person has to be careful. Because if you're going to accept a gift, you better show your appreciation. You better demonstrate that it's a tremendous thing this person did. Maybe you should go overboard a little bit, because that brings about more friendship. Right? It's not fake. You have to show appreciation, otherwise you're an ingrate. One of the worst character traits a person can have. It could be a person never wants to take help. A person never wants to say thank you, because they have been helped. Or it's beneath them, or whatever. You have to show. You have to show thankfulness. You have to show gratitude. Because then, if you don't, person did you a chesed, person did something good for you, you don't show any appreciation, well, let's think in the future. Is the person going to do it again? Is the person going to want to help you, want to draw yourself closer to you? To have greater friendship? What's he going to do? He's going to think, oh, the last time he gave me a gift. Last time I gave him a gift. He didn't even say thank you. He didn't even show appreciation. Like, he was destined to get it. It belongs to him. He's God's gift to the world. I don't need your gift. Okay, you gave me a gift. Very nice. I have to thank you? Yes. To be appreciative? Yes. You don't have to worship the ground they walk on. But you have to have a karas hatov. You have to show gratitude. And people sometimes have difficulty doing that. Even if something's small. All the more so for something big. Because we want to let our guard down. We don't want to show our indebtedness. But if you don't show gratitude, the person's never going to want to give. Right? That's the benefit over here. He gives, you get benefit. He gets benefit because you got benefit. But if you don't show you got benefit, why is he going to give? So you can say, well, maybe I should give, even though I'm not going to get benefit. What's the highest level of giving? We're not going to get any benefit at all. That's called chesed shel meis. Chesed shel meis is that you do something for the dead person, right? You help bury it like a meis mitzvah if no one else can bury it. Whatever the case is, you're doing something for the sake of the dead person. What are you going to get in return? I mean, unless you think you're getting something. Unless you think you're getting something in return is one thing, but the person's dead. What do you think? You're going to get something from his heirs? You're not getting any benefit. That's chesed shel emes. That's the ultimate truth. When you do something without any benefit whatsoever. Because there's no possible way, not that I've heard of, that a dead person is going to give you anything. So why are you doing it? Because that's the ultimate chesed. Now if we serve God, we'll just jump over here. If a person serves God for the sake of not receiving any reward, that's the way we're supposed to serve Him. Right? The Ramchal says in Path of the Just, he says a chapter about fear of God. Fear of sin. He says that if a person does something good, and he should get rewarded, that's what we would have thought. I get a reward in the world to come. I'm not going to get it now. Says Chovos Levavos that, Chovos Levavos, not Path of the Just. Chovos Levavos says in Shar B'tachon, chapter 4, that don't think for one split second that's because of the mitzvah. You're getting reward. Because the reality is, when you're serving God, you got an obligation to serve Him. So if you get an obligation to serve Him, why should you get reward? So you should serve Him like you're not getting reward. So you can say, but doesn't everyone know that we serve God? Because we know, first of all, we know it's the right thing to do. We're going to get rewarded for what we do. Right? Everyone will tell you that. Right? Comes on the Chovos Levavos, and he says that may be true in a certain way, but in the end, that's not what happens. Why do you get reward? You get reward because it's a chesed. Because God does an act of loving kindness. Because when I do the right thing, and I keep Shabbos, and I keep kashrus, and I don't speak Lashon Hara, and I do all these mitzvahs, what's God going to tell you? He's going to say, I'm giving you a reward because it's a chesed of mine. I don't need to give you a reward. But you're going to say, what do you mean? I do the right thing. Shouldn't I get reward for it? God's going to say, isn't that what you're obligated to do? Would you get reward if you paid your telephone bill? Would you get reward if you paid a loan back? Would you get a reward if you paid your electric bill? Imagine going down to the electric company and say, okay, I want thanks for paying this bill. They're going to think you're crazy. Because they're going to tell you, you know what? The fact that you paid the bill, that's your obligation. That's your duty. What do you mean? You think you're God's gift to the world. Look what I did. I paid my bill. Woo! Paid his bill. That's what he's supposed to do. Same thing in mitzvahs. I gave you these commands. You're obligated to serve me. If you're obligated to serve Him, so why should you get reward? And the reason God gives you reward is because it's a chesed. Wouldn't be fair, obviously, if you're doing the right thing, why should you get paid back? But the reality is He doesn't have to. He can just say, that's what you're obligated to do, and finished. So that we have to appreciate. That we have to understand. I'm not really deserving of anything. Because I'm not deserving of anything, I have to do it anyway. And if I have to do it anyway, why should I get praise for it? Why should I get benefit from it? Why should I get reward? I don't deserve it because that's my obligation. But see, the Torah over here wants to show that you have to have appreciation. Because if you don't have appreciation, nobody's ever going to do chesed. No one is ever going to do something where you're going to benefit from. Because you didn't say thank you. You didn't show appreciation. Then people would help one another. Then society basically would break down. Because then people would be more selfish than they already are. They'd say, listen, people don't show appreciation, why should I help them? Even if I could help them. And that, as we said, is the breakdown of society. And that's no good. So over here, when a person gets the gift, when Avraham gets the gift, it shows appreciation. When he shows appreciation, he's got more influence. He's got the ability to have people be stronger in Amunah, stronger in their belief in him, stronger in their mitzvah observance, stronger in all aspects. Because otherwise, you get a gift, you don't say thank you, you don't show appreciation, you're an ingrate. And a person who is an ingrate is one of the worst sins a person can do. Because someone did you a favor. They can say, listen, I don't want to be indebted, so I don't want to take. Person's entitled. But at the end of the day, you might have to, and there might be a greater good over here. The greater good is who you're now hanging out with. Right? Who are you receiving from? Could give you greater influence in the future. You gotta be careful. I mean, some of these people totally corrupted, and other things. You gotta be careful of that. But in general, if you can do this and sanctify God's name and show a greater amount of appreciation, the more likely you'll have influence over other people. If you don't show that, oh, look at that, I did this thing for him, he's not appreciative. He doesn't say thank you. That's a minimal level. Right? The minimal level is someone did a favor for you, you have to thank them. A much higher level is you show appreciation. You bond better when that happens. Even though you may feel indebted for the greater good of what a person can do that's helping you. Because you just never know. Where that influence is going to be and how far it's going to go. But the fact that we said before, now people see you're close to the king, now you're a big shot. So now what you say matters. That's why they say here in Israel, Bala Mea Bala Deya. A person has money, he's got a greater influence. Right? If a person's got money, people listen to him more. Whether he's a crackpot or not, doesn't matter. Why will he have a place? Why do we have a place to speak? And people will listen because he's got money. If a person didn't have money, they're never going to listen to him. What level of influence could they possibly have if they don't have money? No one's interested in their opinion. You got money, you got influence, you got power. Okay, that's something different. Something totally different. So what you want to do in the future or right now has a much greater chance of happening. Because you got the support now. Now, as we said, you're a big shot. You're out there. So now you don't have to pave the streets so hard because now people are looking at you and say, oh, look, he's close to the king. Look, he's close to this one. They'll listen better. It makes your job a lot easier. Now, the person isn't so liked and conceited and other things, may work to a negative advantage. Right? But here, in Avraham's case, getting the gift saves his life. Essentially saves his life. That's what the verse says. Because people are not going to touch him, even if they wanted to. They're going to think very hard before they do it. Because at the end of the day, he's close to the king. If you're close to the king, you are not going to mess. Right? You do not want to take that chance. Because all Avraham has to do is go to the king and say, hey, these people are bothering me. The king will take care of it. Right? The king should take care of it. They're buddies. They're friends. Brings about greater friendship. Would show in the future. Person want to help more. Right? If he already helps now and there's reciprocation, and the person thanks him and he feels good about what he did, you won't stop to continue to do it. Right? Within his means. Whatever it is. He's going to continue on that path because he feels good about what he did. Maybe we'll get others involved. maybe. That could have a much greater influence. More people, more money, more connections. All these things are beneficial. But in the back of your mind, you should really say, I don't really want it. I don't want to do it this way. I want to do it on my own merit. I don't want to weasel my way in. But in the end, you take a shortcut. Someone opens doors, you don't shut them. Obviously, if they're good doors. Right? You go in that direction, you run with it, because now you have a new lease on life. So Avraham thought, you know what? Really? I should take the gifts. Really? What happened to the king of Sodom? I don't want to become rich by him, blah, blah, blah. Good. And that's really what he should do. Because God should make him rich, not anyone else. But taking gifts, having greater influence now that you have a connection with the king, and now no one's going to touch you, you got a free reign over here. You got money, you got power, you got influence. It's a tremendous thing. So on the face of it, it looks pretty bad. Because if you're not going to show appreciation, it's like you're stealing. On the other hand, you show appreciation. People are going to think they have power over you because now they're giving you gifts. It's like bribery. But the reality is, you're just thankful. And it gives you more broader connections. And through the more broader connections, again, you have to stand your ground. Right? You can't be with open mind until your brains fall on the floor. You got to do the right thing. But now you've just been handed a gift. No pun intended. You've been handed a tremendous gift. You're now safe from the people. They're not going to bother you. People know you're close to the king, so now they're going to listen to you more. And the more they're going to listen, the more influence you're going to have. But again, it only starts with the fact that you are getting something beneficial. And you're showing that it's beneficial. You are thanking the person who gave it. So when you do that, everybody wins. That person will want to give again. You'll want to receive again, potentially. But it'll open other doors. It'll make other connections. But you're going to say, that's not my goal. Right? I'm not in Avraham's shoes. Okay, person gave a gift, very nice. What does that have to do with the bigger scheme of things in the world? It's bringing about friendship. That's what Shalach Manos and Purim's all about. Right? You give, two different food category things to friends, or even people not so friendly, but you want to bring about friendship, you bring them a gift. Right? Nothing better than food. Right? As long as it's good and it's tasty. All right, bring about friendship, no question. Right? That's how you influence others. You give gifts. Right? People say, oh, I remember last year you gave me this gift. Now he needs help, I'll try and help him out. Right? People feel good when what they do is appreciated. The worst thing is if a person gets disrespected and they do all this work and they're not, they help others, they give gifts and people don't say boo. People are not appreciative. This person is going to say, why should I bother? I really want to help others. I enjoy giving. But there's no one home to talk to. No one's interested in reciprocating. No one's even interested, forget reciprocating, not interested in saying thank you. Showing gratitude. Because if you don't do that, no one's ever going to give. Right? Someone needs to give. Someone needs to help somebody else. And the other person has to be appreciative. Because then the cycle will work over and over and over again. Then why wouldn't a person want to give? Why wouldn't a person want to help? Unless they're stingy. Unless they're miserly and they want to keep it for themselves. Why should I help someone else? A person may get on get on the high horse and say, "Oh, look, I helped them. They should be indebted to me." Got to be appreciative. Indebted, is a hard thing because the person themselves don't necessarily want to feel indebted. As we mentioned. But it brings about goodwill. And in this world, goodwill goes a long way. We make mistakes, we say things we shouldn't, we do things we shouldn't. When we want to give a gift, we want to show appreciation. When you show appreciation, a person understands. You're not trying to bribe them, but a person understands what the benefit is. They understand that you want to draw them close. You want to be more friendly. By being more friendly, relationships flourish. It's kind of catchy. You help them. You want to help somebody else. Someone else helps you. It all goes around. Even if you don't want to take help. It's good. Makes you feel good. Someone knows whatever situation. You just feel appreciated. You feel loved. People like to feel loved, not the other way around. Or you ask people who've been neglected how they feel. They don't feel too good. Because they feel they're not important. They feel like what they say doesn't matter. The person doesn't want to have a connection to them. But someone who shows appreciation. Someone who wants to have that bond. And have it together. And continue that connection. Then go as far as you want. Because then there's mutual respect. Then there's a desire to want to give more, to want to help, to make the bond stronger. But if you don't do that, it's game over. Right? Because even if you give and the other one seemingly not showing any emotion, then what do you give for? What was the whole purpose? Right? Seemingly it gets wasted. And a person does not want to have that character trait of being an ingrate. Because it's like you've been given stuff and you've been given help and other things and you just take it and grab it and go away. Person doesn't want to give like that. Because you might say, well, it's coming to me anyway, so why should I be thankful? Be thankful because someone's helping you. And the fact they help you, is a huge thing, and it should draw people closer together. So I want to remind everyone I have a class on duties of the heart. We are in Shar Bitachon, chapter 4, discussing different proofs why Olam Haba, the next world, is not stated explicitly in the Torah. That's every Tuesday, 9 p.m. New York time. 2 question and answer sessions, usually Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock New York time. I have a class on the book of Leviticus, chapter 10. Every Sunday, 9 in the morning, New York time. I also have conversion classes. Right, so anyone interested in any of these things, contact me on Facebook, Beyond Orthodox Conversion to Judaism, or you can send me an email, rabbichaimkaufman@gmail.com, RABBICHAIMCOFFMAN @gmail.com. Have a great Shabbos!